worry about it. I'm gonna be standing up there big, bad, and bold as shit, right? You ain't even got to worry about it because I'm not. That's not happening. Okay, so but she chose not to. Okay, one of the other women who was with him for 27 years, who now resides in Texas, she had two sons by him. They're both adults now, and one has their own family, married, children, and everything. And I believe the other is or was incarcerated for an extended period of time. I'm not sure what he's doing today because I'm not in communication with him. And so um, she left in 2009 after he beat her severely. Severely. Now, she says this is the first time that he ever laid hands on her, and that's the reason why she left. But her eyes were so swollen that she could not see. And he sent her, he had a property out in Detroit on Iroquois. Big 7,000 square foot house. And that's the way he lived because he lived off of them. He prostituted them. They went to work, came home, brought him their money, and he gave them the crumbs that fell from his table. That's how he was. Okay? So she decided after this, hear the bird? Yeah. Uh-huh. So she decided after this that she was going to leave, and so she did, right? Now, the 15-year-old that he got pregnant, he hid. So whenever someone, and this was rare because, again, he kept them in isolation, the women and the kids, to the point that where most of the kids did not even go to high school. They were supposedly homeschooled, which they weren't, right? There was no schooling going on, right? He had the women, or he would buy them lingerie or order lingerie, and the girls at 13, 14, 15 were made to prance around for him. Okay, again, the most, and I know I don't even know all of it, the most sickening acts that you could possibly think of outside of I'm trying to think of something. Mm-hmm. Outside of killing them and eating their flesh or something. You know what I mean? Outside of something like that. So he, we all have a choice. We can either heal the world or we can create atomic bombs and drop them everywhere we go, in every relationship, every connection, right? And just leave devastation everywhere we go. And literally from his childhood, there's nothing but devastation everywhere he goes. Certainly from him being a teenager. Everywhere he goes, it's just nothing but devastation everywhere he went. Okay? So he would have these girls, my sisters, prance around, right, in lingerie for him because that was his goal. He was going to the next level. The women he was with were getting older, right? And so he was grooming the next generation. And that's what these people do. For the polygamous stories that are popular, that have been documented, or documentaries have been done, and there are many, then you see that that's what they do. So they have the wives have children, and then their eyes get to focus on the next generation and those girls that are growing up or those boys that are growing up. The church as a global body has not been what the Father has desired to see or resembled what his purpose for a church is for 400 years. 400 years. The church has been a disappointment to the Father because there are people who are calling themselves ministers that are lying, cheating, stealing, robbing, homosexualing, and no, that's not a word, but they are doing things that are absolutely demonic. And every Sunday standing up there and calling themselves a minister, calling themselves a pastor, calling themselves an apostle, calling themselves a bishop, calling themselves a reverend. And by the way, a reverend is not a spiritual title. There is no anointing that comes with a reverend, because a reverend, if you look in scripture, there the word reverend is never mentioned, ever. That is a man-made title. So if you're following a reverend, Again, I'd wake my chakras up and get in alignment and find out who you should really be following. And the chances are it's going to be your own alignment. It's okay to listen to someone, but if you take their word over what you know in your gut, you're being deceived. You're blind. I guarantee you. You need to decipher and determine what needs to be digested from every word that is spoken to you. Because if not, you'll also be the one falling in the ditch, right? So if they're begging you, telling you that there's a certain amount of people to give you money, they're lying. That's manipulation. That is witchcraft. If they tell you to send me money because I need this car, I need this jet, I need this to do the Lord's will, they are lying. Do not watch them. Do not give to them. They are manipulating you for what you have. And then when you turn around and you say, I need this, then they won't give it, right? How many people have been on that jet? And I know you guys know who I'm talking about. For those of you who follow ministers on TV, right? You know who I'm talking about. I wonder how many of his church members have been on that jet. If he got it. I don't know if he got it. I suppose he did, because the enemy's out to deceive, right? And so they'll make you believe, oh yeah, he got it. That's true. I helped him get that jet. No, wake the hell up. No, absolutely not, right? But then the Father does things, and every now and then he will shame one of these bastards, right? So he will shame a Zachary Timms who ends up ODing on cocaine in New York. Why? Because he's lying and cheating and stealing. He had a church right here in Apopka, Florida, and I'm not too far from there. He had a church right here in Apopka, right? Reverend James Cleveland, again, Reverend is not an anointed title, right? That's a man-made title. So Reverend James Cleveland only had men, or had the majority of men in his church, in his choirs, because he was a molester. He was a homosexual, and he would molest these men. True story. If you don't believe me, look it up for yourself. Again, every now and then something comes to light about these devious demon workers who are flaunting themselves as ministers of Yahweh's gospel. And that shit has to stop. Okay? So he decided, right, that he didn't want to work for whatever reason, but he wanted to live this King David lifestyle because someone told him that he had the heart of David. So today he's serving this 44 to 66 year sentence in the Michigan State Prison. And I honestly believe that at some point this year, he's actually going to pass. He just had a birthday on May 24th, just a couple of days ago. But he's actually going to pass sometime this year. And there will be others. And there will be others because of the stuff that they've done specifically to me, because he knew who I was from birth. He knew what I was anointed to do from birth. That's why he didn't want me to have kids. He didn't want me to be married. He didn't want me to be prosperous. My bloodline is royal. And he did not want that Egyptian shamanic royal bloodline to come forth and be revealed to the world. He did not want me to do what I'm doing today. And that's telling the truth, right? That is releasing the truth. I am in the process of writing a book. And that book is titled My Father, Your King, and it's due to be released on 8/4. And the brother who's 13 months younger than me, who passed, that I mentioned earlier, he passed on 8/4 of 2021. And so that's why I chose that date to release that book. And so that is something that I am excited about. Initially, I'm looking to have it just be released on Amazon Kindle. And so I'll be sharing that perhaps at that time when it's done, and so, or when it's released. So anyway, I have seen, as I look back over my life, and I've seen how his witchcraft, his spell work has infiltrated every single relationship that I've had and flipped all of them to be a karmic situation. Not all of them obviously were twin flames. There's one one twin flame, and again, I'm sharing that story in another set of videos. But she was born on 11/13, and I was born on 11/29, same year. So that's 8 and 8. Twin flames mirror each other, right? Because they're the other half of you from a soul perspective, from a spirit perspective. And I gotta say honestly, having gone through that experience, I hate that. Honestly, being a warrior, being a soldier, being a fighter, I do not believe that it is even fair that there is someone who gets to be another half of you, because fucked up things like this happen, right? So the relationship started out fine, but he ended up doing witchcraft, as he did with the other relationships that started out prosperous, and he ended up uh, uh, turning that situation karmic, to the point of today that female now she prefers women, right? She actually prefers women now, right? And I believe has had a relationship with someone for years. This individual is a transvestite, and this individual lives in around Charlotte, North Carolina. Okay, I don't know their name, but she has mentioned them to me, and she's told me about the work that they're having done physically in order to transform themselves. What I did not know back then, when I was with her, was her involvement with that individual. I did not know that. Okay, because again, even given my gifts and my anointings, I had dumbed myself down because I was so emotionally vested in that situation that I believed that there is no way that this could not be the father, right? I was in a previous relationship years and decades ago, and me and the woman I was with, she became impregnated, and we decided that we were not in a situation to where we wanted to raise a child. We were not. That was a monstrous roller coaster, and she had two small kids already. So we decided to bless this family that was wanting a multiracial child. We blessed them with that child, right? So she adopted, right? So I've sown a son, right, into someone through adoption, and she has adopted a girl, right, a female, okay, when she was a baby, right? And now that child is a teenager. But so there are so many similarities. I am a kidney transplant recipient. Again, that's another one of those healings. 3 weeks after I started saying, I don't need dialysis, I'm just here to socialize, the phone rings when I'm finishing up a dialysis treatment, and there's a kidney for me. And that kidney transplant happened on 7/7 of 2017. So that's 7/7/17. I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. I have the medical records to prove it, and the dialysis treatments to prove it, and the VA medical records and prescriptions to prove it. Okay? So she has had a kidney removed. Again, a twin flame. That relationship was no doubt anointed to bring about change in the world and to heal the world, right? However, she turned karmic because she refused to leave a situation, and she only wanted men for sex and money, is what it turned out to be. And again, she actually prefers women today. Okay? And she tries to keep this a secret, but all of that's coming to the light. And so I'm going to stop it here. And again, thank you so much for tuning in. I believe this is going to be it as far as his story is concerned, because it's the bulk of it. There's so many details to get into, but you have to stay tuned for the book. And other than that, thank you again so much for listening. My name's Nehru. I am the encourager, and the purpose for me being here is to bring about healing through my unconditional love and my experiences and the spiritual work that I've done to get myself to this ascended master place, whether that's through healing, alchemizing, or what have you. So thank you so much for tuning in, and chat with you next time.